Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. Thank you for joining me again here on Genius Home Theater. Before we get started on today's video, I want to thank my subscriber Eric. Eric is the first winner of the first giveaway that we have here on the channel, and congratulations to him, and hope you're going to enjoy that prize that you did win. It is on its way. All right, so now today, what we're doing today is we're trying to separate the power usage, or we're actually giving more power to our subwoofers, in my opinion, and making sure we don't interfere with the rest of the components that are on the circuit. So what I did in this space is I moved the subwoofer circuits, or the subwoofer, to a different circuit in my home so that it would not drain or be drained by all the other components in our AV center, our home media center. So really in our home media center, between our home media center and our projector here and any other peripheral things that we have plugged into this one circuit for this room, there are actually 22 devices plugged in. So no, all of them are not running at the same time, but we got 3 amplifiers, a processor, among other things that are, plugged into the circuit at the same time. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to separate the circuit if I could and allow those subwoofers to be able to play as best they could with the power that's available to them. So what we did, you see behind me here, this is where my subwoofer is plugged in currently, right here in this outlet right here. The actual circuit for this room is actually on this outlet. And as you'll see, what we're doing today is moving the power to a different circuit. Our original circuit is right here. And you'll see right here, this is a different circuit right here. And what we did was we actually took the circuit from the adjacent room. So we moved the circuit from the adjacent room over to this room so that we would not be using any extra or sharing any power with all the other things that are plugged up in this room. And we did the same thing for the subwoofer on the other end of the room. So both of my JTR speakers right now are running on separate circuits than where the actual components are plugged in. Now, at the end of this video, we're going to get into some things that can be detrimental to doing something like this. But first, we want to take a look at how we did this and how we achieved this in this space to get those subwoofers all the power that we could get to them. So let's first take a look at the area on the other side of the wall where we're going to be getting this power, and we're going to actually be moving it over here, or what I did to move it over here to this wall. So let's take a look at that right now. Okay, here's the outlet that we have on the opposite side of the wall, opposite of where our living room area is. So we're going to use this outlet and actually take and disable this particular outlet right here. And we're going to move this to the other side of the wall. So this is where we're going to start. The first thing we want to do is make sure we have the circuit identified in our circuit box, and make sure we turn off the circuit and make sure the circuit power is off. So we're going to make sure the circuit is off now. Okay, now that we verified that the power is off, now we're going to take a look at a couple things behind this particular outlet. First, we're going to start off by taking the cover off. And we're also going to remove our receptacle from the wall. Okay, once you've taken your receptacle off the wall, the next thing we want to do is get our wire from here, or extend the wire, a piece of Romex from this outlet to the other side of the wall. And how we're going to do that is a couple different things that we need to know first. Is basically, first of all, we're going to need to know where the stud is. And a quick tip we can do for this is when we have one of these boxes here, we need to know which side the actual box is connected to, because 10 times out of 10, it's going to be connected to a stud either on this side or on this side. So what we want to do is do the wobble test. We're going to press on this side with like a screwdriver, and it's very sturdy right there. Can't push that back into the wall. Now on this side, if I do the same thing, you see how that box is wobbling now? That tells me that this box is attached on this side. So this is the hollow. That means there's a stud right here, and then there's going to be stud 16 inches that way. So we have a stud here, and what we want to do on the opposite side, we want to bring our outlet on the other side opposite this, but we want to be in the same stud bay. So being we have a stud right here, anywhere within 16 inches here on the opposite side of the wall, we can bring that power over without having to cross a stud. So what we want to do in an outlet like this is we want to take and drill a hole in the corner of this box. Now I have wires coming in from the top of this box. So we definitely want to stay away from the actual existing wires. We have wires coming in and then going out of this box, entering this box from the top. So where I'm going to add my wire here is at the bottom of this box. The bottom corner is where I'm going to aim with my drill to drill a hole in the corner of this box, pointing to the room opposite me. So I'm going to take the drill and basically drill out the corner of this box here towards the other side of the room. Okay, we're on the opposite side of the wall now. And what we want to do on this side of the wall is we want to find where the hole and the actual outlet is on the other side. We're going to do that by measuring the distance from the outlet on the opposite side to the nearest corner of the wall or the nearest opening of the wall. We're going to measure and make sure we can find that stud and make sure we're in the same open stud bay. And from there, we're going to make our hole for this actual new gang box. We're going to actually put a new gang box in here, but first we're going to cut the hole for it. And once we've cut the hole for this box, we will be able to see that actual outlet on the other side that we've just drilled the hole in. And so we'll be able to see that. So at that point, we're going to take our Romex that we have here, and we're going to make about a 3-foot length. And from this hole in the wall, we're going to push it in through and leave an actual maybe like a foot or two in that other box on the other side of the wall to here. All right, at that point, we can install our new gang box. This is the electrical type that you need for electrical work. And we're going to install our Romex into here and then complete our connections for our actual outlet to the receptacle. Okay, we're back on the room we're taking the power from. There's our hole in the corner going to our new game box and our new receptacle here. Now on this side, we want to take our piece of Romex that we have and connect to the original wires coming in and out of the box using these push-on connectors. There are many different types that you can use. You can use the screw-on nuts, and you can use these push-on types right here. Now, this side of the wall here, I do not need a receptacle to use. So what we're going to use in this, once we've made our connections, our new piece of Romex and our existing wires, black to black, white to white, and ground to ground. So once we've done all that, we're going to put this back in here and we're going to install a blank. So this is no longer going to be a receptacle. So this is perfect for our purpose that we're going to use it for. This is on an outlet on the opposite side of the wall from our actual project room. And we don't use it in this particular room. It's in a space that we would never use that outlet. So instead of keeping an outlet here, we're going to actually put a blank on this. So once we've made those connections between our branch piece of Romex, we're just going to tidy this into the wall. And then we're going to focus on the opposite wall where our project room is. So just like that, we've entered this hole right here, found our wall bay on the opposite side in the stud bay, created an outlet a hole on that side, created an outlet on the opposite side. Now we're actually using the power from this particular room, which is a separate circuit, and actually added it into our project space so we can use for our subwoofers. So let's close this up, because we are done on this side. All right, we're back in our project side. We're gonna complete the connections on our receptacle, and we're gonna put it back into the wall, finishing the connections from one room to the other. Now, if you don't feel comfortable doing a project like this, electricians can definitely do this very, very same thing. But I think this is something you can do, and I want you to be able to do it safely. And we use the proper tools to check for power. That's the most important thing. So make sure we check for power. Okay, we completed the connections from one side of the room to the other. Now, I know that was kind of maybe a little bit fast paced for some of you. Now, if you don't feel comfortable making these connections and making this path, you can definitely hire an electrician to do something like this. This is shouldn't cost you a lot to have done by a local electrician. They can handle this for you. But the idea is to bring that power from the other wall that's on a separate circuit into your space, so you're not sharing the power that you have between all the components. Especially subwoofers, they're going to be a little bit greedy. So again, we have our outlet here installed. We've taken power from the other side. And then the last thing we want to do is we want to make sure we label one of these circuits to make sure we alert anyone in the future that these may be on separate circuits. So we definitely want to label these as maybe what we have in our circuit panel, but we definitely want to leave some kind of notation on the actual outlet, letting someone know that these particular two outlets are not on the same circuit. So that being said, always check for power when you're working on any electrical outlet or any switch. So you definitely want to be safe just in case, because things like this in the real world do exist. But of course, we're going to label ours, not just for my safety, I would know, but maybe someone else is working in your home and you want to keep them safe as well. All right. Okay. Now we've completed our outlet on the other side of the wall. We want to, again, make sure we've labeled it before we're all done. Again, if you don't feel comfortable with it, get an electrician to do it for you. Now, what I want to let everybody know about next is, because we have this couch that's coming back up against this wall, this is our love seat side. If you've seen our theater kind of overview, our theater tour, this is the love seat side of the room. So this love seat is going to go all the way back up against this wall. And our subwoofer here in this corner right here, because of space, has to be not all the way in the corner, but maybe I would say 4 inches from either wall. So that's all the space that we have here. It's not ideal, and there's a compromise, but that's what we have right here. So again, the couch coming up against the wall and the actual subwoofer being 3 or 4 inches from either wall in this corner. So what you see that I've done here with our particular power cable is this power cable right here did not come with this 90-degree or this right angle plug or this plug receptacle. This plug receptacle was put on by myself. Now you can buy cables that have this, and you can also install these also. So this particular cable is what I use to replace my subwoofer cable. Is a little bit longer than the original one that came with it, but once you do that, you want to make sure you use a size and gauge of the original cable that came with your subwoofer. This subwoofer cable that I'm using right here, this power cable for the subwoofer, also has a 90-degree on the end, the IEC end that plugged into the subwoofer as well. And I'll show you a picture of that. So we have 90-degree at the subwoofer. We have a right angle or 90-degree at the wall outlet also. So we won't have as much interference with the heavier gauge cable. As you know, JTR subwoofers have a heavy gauge cable that come with them, and they have a lot of power. So as long as you replace it with one that fits the exact same standard, you should be good to go. So we have this right angle plug here plugged into here. And again, we also going to have an issue with our signal cable coming into our subwoofer. That's our RCA cable coming into that. And because we're so close, we actually use a 90-degree fitting for our RCA signal to go into the JTR subwoofer. We did the very same thing for the subwoofer in the opposite corner. It also has a 90-degree that's plugged into the wall, and that's a separate circuit from this room as well. So that particular circuit over there, just happens to be an outlet over there, is actually on the kitchen circuit. So we'll be fine with that as well. So we have a kitchen circuit over here. We have another living area on the opposite side of this wall, and then our living room space right here. 3 circuits here. So what are the downsides of having something like this? And I can tell you, you probably already thought about it and say, oh man, he's gonna have some horrible hum. Yeah, subwoofer hum is real. Subwoofer hum is real, and basically subwoofer hum can come from a few different things. I can tell you, when I had my JTR speakers on the same circuit, there was some hum, and I was able to get rid of that hum or reduce the hum somewhat by replacing some cables that are in the actual AV cabinet plugged into some of the components that we have. You have to meticulously unplug and plug in cables one by one. It can be a myriad of things that's causing the hum in your subwoofers from components that are not directly plugged into your subwoofer. It can be anything plugged into the processor, or from the processor, something peripheral plugged into the processor can give you a hum. Oh yeah, this is it. You've seen it, you know it, you've heard about it, you've used it, you're using it right now, and all of this other kind of good stuff. But I did a little something different to cure the hum on the subwoofer channels in my space. I'm not an electrician, but I do work around electricity in my real job. So I have a problem with a plug that has a ground on it that when you use this no longer has a ground. I have a problem with, personally, that potential not being able to reach a ground through its original contact. So what we did here is something a little bit different, and you can go online and find these as well. Okay, what we're using in our space instead of that that ground lifter that we're using right here is a Isomax ground loop counselor by Jensen Transformers. So right here you'll see it has an input and an output. So it has an input and an output. So what we want to do is take our input that's coming from our signal and plug into one side. And then on the other side, we want to plug the output. On the other side, we want to plug the output that's actually going to our JTR subwoofer. This device right here does not take any power at all. So you can mount it behind or mount it on your subwoofer if you wanted to. It doesn't require any power. There are no knobs to turn or anything. When you plug this in, your hum is just gone. So nothing special about this. You take this thing right here, you got it going in and then out. And what I do is just drop it right back behind my subwoofer. No hum. And that's it. Okay. That's it in a nutshell. We have taken power from one side of the wall here and brought it onto this side of the wall here. We plugged our subwoofers in with 90-degree angled connectors at the wall and also at the back of the subwoofer. We've tamed our hum in the subwoofers from our ground loop differential because we're on different circuits. We did that safely. We used a device that should be used in an instance like that. So all in all, we've created a safe environment for our subwoofers as far as electrical potential goes. So that's great. Got to feel good about that right there. So we got that right here, and we got another one over here on that side and that particular subwoofer. So have you done anything like this? Have you taken power, or you wish you had another circuit because maybe you're getting some dimming lights and something like that, and you feel like you might be overdoing it on the circuit that you're on? If you have an adjacent wall, do this. Use the adjacent circuit on another, on the other side of the wall for your subwoofers or some components that may be drawing a lot of power. Well, congratulations, you made it this far in the video. I hope you learned a little something. I hope you can maybe try to tackle this project on your own. But what we want to make sure we do, we want to make sure we've checked the wiring on our new receptacle moved to this side with our cable outlet identifier. Our outlet identifier made by Sperry, we're going to use that. We're going to plug it in the outlet to make sure we have the right signal and make sure we wired our outlet correctly. Very, very handy tool. I have one, I keep one. And on the opposite end of this is going to be a non-contact cable identifier, to which you can hold the little button right here, and any wire that may be around, even receptacles and or switches, you can hold this and actually see if there's a live wire in the area. Very, very handy. So you just hold that little thing right there and it'll give you a little beep, letting you know that you have live power. So very, very handy. I keep one of these. I use it. I stay safe. So what I'm going to do is going to help you stay safe as well. So congratulations for staying this far in the video. Now, by commenting in the comments, I need that, I have one for you. I have one of those very same things in store for you. Go to the comment section and comment, I need that, and that one can be yours. Here's how we're gonna do this. When we reach the 200th subscriber for this channel, which shouldn't be long, hopefully it'll be even quicker because you'll share this content and get more people in. That's how we get to the prizes and the giveaways quicker. We're gonna be doing them all over the place. We're gonna be doing them at different milestones as we go along. So little things that I use to help me in my project area, you'll probably get a chance to have some of that or some of those things too. So share the video, let people know they get in, they can actually win that and get it for free. Hopefully it will be yours. So thank you for sticking with me this far. Now, as far as the contest entry for that cable identifier, I almost forgot, we want to have you also follow us on Instagram. So the requirement is going to be in the comments of this video, say, I need that, and then follow Genius Home Theater on Instagram. So those are the only two things you need to do. And at the 200th mark, we will give that identifier away. So thank you again, and we will see you in the winner circle.